Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We're all about Wealth Wednesday, talking about women's empowerment in business and how to celebrate life now. We have Amanda Singh in the house, who is the founder of Jean Franklin. Tell us, who is Jean Franklin?
Oh, Jean Franklin is actually the combination of my parents' middle names. So the brand is heavily inspired by them and what they wore in the 70s and 60s. So there's definitely a vintage inspiration, but one of my goals was to take vintage style clothing and update it with a modern fit.
Right.
What I love about you too is you're such a supporter of like dreamers and doers, but you're giving fashion such a sustainable, cool, eco-chic way, right?
Yeah, and that was definitely my big goal with the business and launching this brand was making sure that everything was made in a sustainable and ethical way. And what that means is having as little impact on the environment in a negative way as possible. So everything we source, including this dress that I'm wearing, is recycled leftover fabric from other fashion brands.
Speaking my language. I do not understand why we're creating so much new clothing when we have so much already. It's great. So tell us, how do you do that? How do you find those products?
So I source it all, for the most part, locally here in downtown LA. And it's, to the point that you just made, it's amazing how much waste there is in the fashion industry. Yeah, so there's beautiful unused bolts of fabric that just sit in warehouses, and if they don't resell them, unfortunately, they either get destroyed or sent to landfills unused. So I source it before that happens, and we make beautiful new garments out of those fabrics.
So fun. And the era, so your parents' middle name, so what was the era? What did they grow up in?
So they were born in the early 50s, so definitely mostly inspired by their early 20s and 30s, 60s and 70s.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that fashion can be such an expression of self, right? Because for me, in a background of fashion, so many times people have just seen it as something that was frivolous, right? For me, it is so important because you really do get to be an example and a demonstration of beauty and of self, and you do this so effortlessly and classically with your brand.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, trying to have that balance is also really important because one of the things that we definitely don't want to do is just create super trendy pieces that people only want to wear for a couple months or maybe once or twice and then throw out.
So let's talk about celebrating you. Was there a moment where you came to self-love and came to the concept of not looking and beating yourself up for, it's so easy to do that in our businesses. Was there a moment for you when you came to that realization?
Definitely, and I will say that it's a journey. So I'm definitely not there, and I think it will always be, something that I have to work on just as an individual, because as I'm sure you all know, just being having that drive to always create and grow and build something, I think you're always second guessing a lot of what you do and the choices that you make. For me, my background is actually in marketing, and I always, while I was very successful in that field, I didn't feel fulfilled. So it's been something over the last 10 to 15 years that I've really struggled with knowing that I've always been inspired and want to do something more creative in the fashion space. I also felt like it was a very vapid industry. So as I started doing more research on the fashion industry and learning all of the unfortunate things that happen with pollution and also how people broadly aren't paid fair wages for their work. Garment workers in particular, who I'm talking about, even in the US and in LA, which is shocking, and a lot of people just don't know that. I realized that married the thing that I'm really passionate about in fashion and personal style with being able to create positive change and affect people on the planet in a positive way.
So important. Well, Jean Franklin, we love you because
thank you.
That's that avatar is what we need more of. So thank you so much for all your beautiful, beautiful work.
Thanks.
Tell people where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me on jeanfranklin.com. We're also on Instagram at Jean Franklin Shop, as well as on Facebook.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow on Good Morning La La Land.